All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Legendary Tales. My name is Devin. Oh, wait. Is it working from the first try? Oh, this one's working, but the desktop is not. Of course not, because that's only how that would work. Let's see. Did this work? Oh, yep. I can hear someone typing.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just making sure that just glad it's working. Have,
It was very angry typing. She's like writing a letter to the editor or like trying to complain for free McDonald's or something. Very angry typing.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Hope
It is in
everyone's
the realm of that.
okay.
Oh,
Hope everyone's having a good day. I don't know why my overlays are just bumped down for some reason. Huh. Okay. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, so does anyone have a recap? I believe we just went to this cave and killed a bunch of guys because Haka left behind some equipment for you guys. Right? I think that was pretty much it.
that was that was mostly it. My recap is we were supposed to go get some provisions in a cave near Turf War, and the provisions were missing and were stolen and dragged further into the cave, and so we went in and found goblins and orcs and we fucked them up. That's quite literally what my notes say. They also say Evie genocided them several times with fireball.
True.
Yeah,
Various elements of fireball at that.
various elements of fireball. It was like advanced fireball. It was fireball, but 3 parallel universes ahead.
Fair. Shortly after the battle, that was a quick recap. It's good. Shortly after the battle, you guys essentially move back. I don't know why I can't. Does anyone remember why you came to the crag originally?
We were sent here on a mission from someone. It was to come get the supplies, I thought. There's a supply drop.
Yeah, this one was a supply drop, so we got sent to the crag for a supply drop, and to meet with a war master. Sorry, so it was a supply drop. We were supposed to meet with a war master. War master never showed up at the supply drop.
Yep.
Okay.
But the supplies were from War Master Haka.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we assumed that was the War Master we were supposed to meet up with. So we should probably figure out why that War Master Haka wasn't there.
You can if you would like.
Was there another thing that we were sent on a mission for? I don't recall.
No. As far as I remember, you were good to go. Oh yeah, you are no longer invisible. There you go. What is there anything that you guys would like to do while you're in Tour 4?
We should probably check in with Bounty Master Sinhar. If we
Sinhar
can.
or Sinhold?
Sinhold.
Sinhold.
It's this damn Warforged accent.
So you guys are going back into Tour 4 proper? That's going to take a little bit to get there.
All right, I'll posit it to the group. I think this is where we started the campaign.
It's like a half day.
This is basically where Bounty Master Sinhald would be. It's probably worth it. Like, we haven't seen hide or hair of him yet, so.
I felt like we had sent somebody to look after him or something like that when the whole Nilhund thing went down, since he was the one that put us in contact with Yvonne in the first place.
Yeah, but we haven't heard any. Did we send somebody to look after him, or did we send somebody to go collect him?
To look
So
after
that's kind
him.
of to look after him. Okay. So if something went wrong with him, or if there was something we should know about him, then we would probably find out from Absalorn,
True.
most likely.
Oh, okay. If you guys are heading back to Tour 4, it's going to take you about a half day. You remember you guys arrived early morning. And you start on your way to Tour 4. Hold on. There's a cat. You guys make your way to Tour 4, and it takes you about a half day. It's actually pretty uneventful. And you guys reach there, and the area is oddly quiet. I need all of you to make perception checks, please. Dang. Vidar and Loershik. Even Callum looks around and he's just a little confused because this is usually brimming with people. There's loads of noise from the trees being harvested, that kind of thing. You get there, and it's not that it's quiet for lack of people. It's quiet for everyone being preoccupied with something else. You can't see it at the moment, but you can hear it. It sounds like a screaming sort of, for lack of a better descriptor, a small child that is very upset. And it seems that everyone in the village is surrounding this large area that people have been pushed back, and you can see a large crowd surrounding the what it sounds to be like a small child. What are you doing?
Does the small child sound similar to the small child that was yelling to us from the scythe by chance?
No, not at all.
Can I yeet the child?
If you would like to go see what the child looks like, you can.
Sure, I do that.
So you begin to push your way through the crowd, and a mass directly in the center. Like you make way. Is everybody else following, or are you guys just leaving or staying a little bit farther behind?
We'll go.
I'll follow.
Following.
You push your way through, and right in the middle of this huge crowd, there is not a small child. There is for lack of a better term, it's hard to describe. It's essentially a centaur that the top half is it's so hard to describe. The top half is a full orc, but the bottom half is a grizzly bear, but its face is that of a young girl.
Can I detect magic to see if this young girl has been forcibly transformed?
I don't know if you would. You can try, but it's going to be a little bit
Just
hard
Arcana
because you
check.
don't really know what.
What I'm looking for?
Yeah, where Evie I think would have a little bit more experience. Well, primarily now that she has polymorph.
Hey Evie, what's going on? What's wrong with them?
Let me look at it for a little longer and I'll let you know. Is it an Arcana check?
Yes.
I don't know, Worship. Good.
As you're
Damn.
looking at it from the distance, Evie, you're realizing that it's not just an orc and a bear. It's a statue with a living face.
It looks like it's a statue, but just the face is alive.
I
Ah,
walk up to the little girl.
Okay. And you're realizing that the green skin of this orc is a patinaed bronze. It's not moving. Only the face is crying. And the bear itself is brown because it's recently been washed and sort of polished. But from the distance, it's covered in mud and it looks sort of awkward. You're realizing that this actually is a gigantic bronze statue that has a living face.
I assume it's surrounded by people, like giant circle of people. around
Yes,
this.
but they're all like 10 feet away from it because they're like,
Got it.
what is happening?
I walk right up in front of it and address it and ask it, "Are you okay?"
It sort of sniffs for a moment and like shifts to look down at you because it does look like it's been melded with this gigantic statue. And it looks down at you and it just make an insight check at advantage for me, please. This looks to be the most painful thing in the world, and it cannot speak as a result of the amount of pain that it is being inflicted upon it.
Hey, Vidar. I call Vidar over.
Yeah, I walk over.
Are you able to like communicate telepathically with this thing?
I can give it a try. I'm not sure if it's in too much pain to speak, it might not be able to think either.
Better than nothing.
I'm going to use Psychic Whispers.
Okay.
I assume I don't need to roll for time or whatever.
No, not at all. You connect with this thing, and you're immediately jolted with a huge amount of more or less emotional feedback for a second. And it appears that just the sheer amount of pain that it's experiencing just explodes on you, and you drop to your knees for a second because you're not really an emotional person. Like you as a being, not very emotional. But the second that you connect with this thing, it's not just pain. It's sorrow, it's happiness, it's pleasure, it's all above, and it's all everything. And all you're feeling and hearing from this character doesn't appear to be vocal at all or lacks the ability to talk in a language, just period. You can communicate with it, but what is communicated to you is emotional states. It's like using a metaphor as colors to represent specific things almost. And its current state, when you connect to it, would be curiosity. It does appear to understand language. It just cannot speak in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, so kind of from my knees on the ground there, look up at Loershik and say, this thing is sharing all of its emotions, so yeah, it can communicate, but not very clearly. And then through the psychic whispers, I ask it if it needs anything or if there's something that we could help with.
You're met with a barrage of emotional energy that would be described as confusion and homesickness.
While this is going on, I want to look around like the base of it and see if there's any.
Go ahead and make an investigation check for me, please. Is anyone else doing anything? Evie, are you doing anything? Technician, are you doing anything?
I'm gonna look like out in the crowd and see if there's anyone like suspicious looking in the crowd, or like if anyone is reacting any differently than the rest of the group.
Sure. I would say make a perception check and an insight check together, please.
Like, just do one and then the other?
Just do one and then the other.
We're crushing it today. We're doing great.
Absolutely crushing it. Nobody here appears to be out of place, or everyone has the same sort of look on their face, like, what is happening? And Loershik, as you're sort of investigating, Callum is like walking away from you, like a good distance out of the crowd, because he's much taller than everyone. So he's sort of walking through people looking, and he just beckons you over.
I get off my knees as I was attempting to look for a plaque, which you'd think would be obvious, but I'm just so blind, apparently, that I just run over to Callum.
Callum sort of points at a thing, and you sort of jump up. And as you're looking down on this sort of statue, it appears to have fallen or was thrown a great distance from the south. Because as you're looking into it, you're noticing that there's a huge amount of dirt displaced farther off than you'd expect. And it appears to have been here for a little while. And then on even farther back, as you turn around past the crowd, you can see a massive divot in the trees, and then past that, a bunch of broken trees. So it appears that this thing was thrown from the south.
Thrown and it like bounced to where it's
Yes.
currently at? Shit. Okay. I go back to the group, and I assume everyone has I assume technicians moved closer to the statue by this point, or
A technician has been asking people in the crowd if they know what happened, but apparently they didn't gather anything more than
No,
Callum did,
nobody.
so.
Everyone is just fixated. I need all of you to make a wisdom saving throw, except for Vidar.
ooh. There's something new, but I don't really understand how it affects me. Can you explain my new thing to me?
Your new thing to you?
Yeah, Elegant Courtier. I get wisdom saving throws. I gain proficiency. Oh, I don't have to actually change anything. I just
No,
gain
you
it.
now have, instead of having +1, you have +4.
Fuck yeah.
There it is. Evie, you feel drawn to the statue. You're like looking around the crowd at people. I assume sort of following Technician to see if people react differently when he starts talking to them, because that's usually what he does. And as soon as he like mentions something, you turn around, and for you, the screaming child no longer sounds like it's screaming or crying. It sounds like a very beautiful song, and you want nothing more than to touch the statue.
Quick check. Did this mess up my mic
No,
again?
not at all.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I guess this is my will at this moment, so I'm gonna just start like I was like originally checking people in the crowd, and I just like kind of snap my head around to the statue and just start walking beeline towards it pretty quickly.
And at the same time, about a dozen other people from the crowd begin to step forward through the crowd and slowly walk toward the statue. Everyone is walking in the same sort of manner. Almost like they're swaying a little bit back and forth. They all have like a specific swagger about them as they move forward. What are you guys doing?
Is it very obvious that they're all doing it at the exact same time?
You're a little bit distracted. If you'd like to make a perception check at disadvantage, I would let you do it, because you're sort of connecting with this creature. Yes, that's an incredible roll. Dang, you also have +9. I guess it's not that hard. I forget that you're like crazy skilled. You're like sort of connecting with this thing, and you notice that Evie and about a dozen other people just start meandering toward the statue. All at the same time.
Does Rep notice that too, or no?
Let's see. Yes.
Okay. Rep Rap is going to kind of beeline for Evie and just get between her and the statue.
Can I ask the statue why everybody's walking towards it?
You're met with that same feeling of homesickness, but extremely powerful this time. Normally, it was like really a lot of sadness and longing, and then all of a sudden, boom, homesickness. Like when you realize that you've left your home and you're not going to be back for a long, long, long time, and it sort of all hits you at once, and that's what it felt like.
At this point, has Vidar communicated with any of us that he is communicating like in emotion? Did you explicitly say that to the group?
I think I mostly said that it's doing a poor job of communicating, but not specifically that it's emotions.
I look to the statue. Do I notice that people are moving towards it, or just the robots?
Go and make a perception check because you're sort of like investigating outside a little bit. Oh yeah, you definitely notice it immediately. You're like, what? Because you felt something change for a second, but it was just almost like a distant noise to you, or like a little bit of white noise, you know. And you turn around and you notice that all these people are like pushing their way through the crowd, and then they're all sort of like swaying in the same manner toward the walking toward the statue.
I look back to the statue and I tell it, if you need our help, I need you to give us a sign that we can understand.
And I also do the whisper thing to it to ask it to show us that we're not in danger, and tell it that we'll try to help it find its way home if we can be promised safety.
Rep Rap is trying to keep Evie from touching the statue or moving too close to it.
Evie is not particularly pushy in a way. She's not doing everything she can to get to the statue, if you get what I mean. She's just moving
Like a
toward
passive.
it. You're not being aggressive in any way.
No, it's like I said like a passive, like it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
gravitational type thing.
Yep. Yeah, and these people. So you're just trying to keep Evie from touching it, correct?
Yeah, it's more of a, we can figure out what it does if somebody else touches it, but based on our prior adventures, let's not touch the spooky thing.
Fair. That's 100% fair.
Also, that's that spooky thing. Don't touch that spooky thing.
And as more and more people move closer and closer to it, more and more people begin to step out of the crowd. And all of you notice something similar about all of them. None of them are human.
None of the people in the crowd are human.
None of the people moving toward the statue are human.
Human, like the race.
The race human. They are all elves, dwarves, all non-human races.
And
So
I
it didn't give us a sign or anything?
I would have heard Lorishik asking for a sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
I call out to him that the only thing that I've gotten from this so far is feeling of homesickness. It wants to go back to its home, I would assume.
Where is home?
I relay that. Can I relay that through whispers, or would it notice it, or would it know to?
I can understand language, right?
It doesn't appear to react to anyone but Vidar.
I'll ask it through the whispers.
Okay. You ask it where home is, and all of a sudden, you don't understand this feeling whatsoever. Uh-oh. You don't understand this feeling, but you feel like you're drowning. You've never breathed. You don't really know what it feels like, but you feel like your lungs are filling up with water. You feel... But with this feeling comes the feeling of serenity and being at home.
Casimir is here as well, right?
Yes, he's
anyway.
pushing people away. He's trying to not let other people touch the statue.
Come on, Casimir. We're trying to figure out what happens. Let somebody touch it. I don't actually say that, but
A little bit of commentary, you know?
I'm going to relay to the group the fact that its home is apparently somewhere underwater. It is making me feel like I'm drowning, or what I assume is drowning.
Can you? I look to Vidar and ask him. Can you tell it to release everyone from whatever it is? And if they do, we will help return them to their home in the water.
Yeah, I, through the psychic whispers, try to convey to the statue that in exchange for releasing its grasp on the people, we will attempt to get it home.
All of a sudden, all at once, a breeze sort of pushes out from the statue and goes over Evie and everyone else that's being drawn into the statue, and they all just sort of blink away. And Evie, you feel like you're... Like, you felt like you were eating dinner with your family, and then all of a sudden you're back in Tour 4 looking at this no longer crying baby statue.
I'm gonna like look around and see that Rip Rap is right next to me and just be like, what just happened?
You and several others were in a trance-like state attempting to move closer to and touch the statue. Casimir and I figured this was probably not a great thing.
That's weird. I just felt like I was at home.
The statue wants to go home, and we have struck a deal with it, where it released everyone from the trance, and we will try our best to get it home.
That sounds about right.
Home
Go
is
into a trance.
apparently to the south, under the sea.
I go into a trance for 30 seconds, and the team is striking deals with statues. Good to see you guys function without me.
We do most of our best negotiating when you're not there.
Thanks, Rip Rap.
Is there, like, looking around at the crowd, is there anyone obvious that stands out as like a person of authority or like a council member or someone who like is important in Turf War?
Not here at the moment. A few, like, after you're sitting looking around, Bounty Master Sinhald actually appears at the edge of the crowd. Just looking over, because you know he's a huge person. He's massive. He's like just as tall as Callum. And he's sort of looking over, and he goes, "Oh, wait a second." And he sort of points at you guys like this.
I hand him one of my cards.
And he's like sort of nodding. Being quiet. He's being quiet, but he's like,
There's just a lot of nodding happening on the middle of the crowd and the outside of the crowd. And the crowd's looking back and forth like they're watching tennis, trying to figure out what the nodding's all about.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Before we go with Sinhald, I want to ask him if he knows anyone in the crowd that we can trust to do something for us. No. I ask Vidar, can you assure our statue friend that we will be back shortly? We just need to figure out where they came from and
If
how
you
we get
if
them
you
back.
if you would like, I can engineer a solution to get this statue back to the ocean while you talk to Sinhold.
So the plan is drop it in the ocean.
The plan is move it south to the water, but that's a bit of a trek. So
Just gonna
nearest
reverse
cliff.
catapult it.
You know,
I did want to eat it, so
I have
the
designed a
deal
rather
is
large slingshot.
we'll get you back to home, but if the ocean is home, you didn't specify where. Plop.
Did Sinhald look like he wanted all of us to come with him, or is he just trying to get some of us to have?
He pointed at each of you individually.
In that case, I, through the psychic whispers, tell the statue that we are going to go have some discussions and devise a way to move the statue, and we will return soon.
And it sends you back a message that is almost like appreciation. But it feels weird for a second, because it doesn't really know how. It doesn't really know how to tell you. I don't know. It doesn't really know how to convey that specifically.
Even if it could communicate emotion, the statue is just bad at gratitude. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Got it.
That's a better description than I could think of.
I find a random person in the crowd and tell them, get as many people as you can together and try to put some water on and around the statue while we're gone.
And they're like, sure. And they just sort of like grab buckets, and they're like just trying to get people to.
What?
They don't really know what's happening, so they're just like, fuck it. Someone took control, we're gonna try and help. I don't know what I'm doing.
I could have told them to poop on the statue and they would have gladly approached.
Probably.
Buckets. Let's do it.
This is the opposite of helping the statue get home. Pooping. That's the opposite.
I'm just trying to keep it happy, yo.
So tune in next week when we meet the statue that comes from a giant pile of shit to the east. That's.
I go to Bounty Master Sinhald and say, we have lots to talk about, and start like gesturing like, where do you want us to go? Lead, please.
He directs you guys to his sort of longhouse that he lives in at the top of the hill, and welcomes you all in. And the first thing he says after getting everybody in, he closes the door after you and locks it. He says, "First things first, I want to apologize. I'm sorry.
For setting us up with a fucking.
I didn't know.
You didn't know, like, at all. You
know.
had no inkling that
not
he
at
could
all.
possibly.
If an order comes from a king from a faraway land that we're allied with, you don't question it.
You don't have like a vetting process for these types of gigs, or
How would you do that?
In fairness, he was a very charismatic individual with a long history of being a terrible shitbag.
Well, and now, that's fair. That's a fair assessment, but it's one of those.
He also
things...
had long hair.
What does that have to do with it?
Sorry, Bounty Master Sinhald. My inference was that even though he has a long history of being a shitbag, people still liked him, employed him, and appreciated his services. There was no way for you to really factor that in to vetting.
Fair.
whose side are you on, Rip Rap?
But there is also the fact that it turns out the king that sent him here is a genocidal maniac. Who'd have thought?
In this world, I'm starting to think that that's not a far stretch for anyone.
We have had 100 years of peace. Okay?
I'm just giving you some shit.
That's very aggressive.
I know him, right? Like I've
Yes,
yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
why are you being so aggressive to me,
Yeah.
Evie?
I
By the way,
I've like
your
done
new
stuff
look,
with him before.
your new look is great. It's
Thank you.
not very often we get to see it, but it's good.
Thank you for someone for noticing and like glare at the rest of the crew.
I am
Uh,
oblivious.
I'm gonna say to Bounty Master Sinhold, yeah, less than ideal that we picked up a psychopathic maniac as our guy, but look at this. I like reach in my cloak and pull out Kindle.
He just sort of has a moment where that you've never seen of him, where he's just like, a cat! Because he has two very large dogs that you could almost call like direwolf level of dogs. They're like, imagine like a pit bull, except you scale it up by 2 times. And the second that thing comes out, they come storming in and they're like, just sniffing it, and like they're licking it, and they're like, it's hot,
Hot.
and they're like licking themselves uncontrollably, and he just sort of like offers his hands out, his huge hands for this little kitten.
There you go. It's burning him slightly.
Oh no, he's
only
definitely being
doesn't burn
burned,
me.
but he's like, this is worth it. What are the rest
That's
of you
all.
doing?
I'm rummaging through cabinets looking for baked goods and anything that's warm to eat.
Oh no, he's got like a big. The thing is in Tour 4 and the surrounding areas, there's a huge tradition of just having something on the stove at any given moment. So if someone needs to eat, they can just eat, and it's usually like a large pot of stew or vegetable stew or that kind of thing. And then if they want meat, you could just cook the meat and then throw it in immediately. But large stew keeps for a long time as long as you keep it warm. And everybody does this. So the second you head in, you know immediately that you could just go to the stove, get some soup, and you're good to go, right? And you have your jerky that you could throw in there, or you probably have some sort of other meat that you could just toss in to cook or whatever. And I assume that's like the first thing you do. You just ignore everything else. You just go straight for the kitchen, right?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
And you're sort of munching on this like really, really delicious potato stew and like sprinkling in your meat and stuff that you have going on. Technician, what are you doing?
I'm gonna start talking to Bounty Master Sinhold.
Yeah,
Bounty Master.
He's having a moment with the kitten right now, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's people here." He just sort of looks at you.
Bounty Master, you wanted to talk to us about something, but I also wanted to ask, how is the situation here? We have seen in other places where arcane magic users are being rounded up, abused, displaced. Is that also happening in the crag?
Yes, we recently had a group of witch hunters move through, and we pushed them out. We didn't combat them, but we have no arcane users here normally. I was contacted, strangely, by this invisible creature that wanted to verify my being, and I said yes, and that they said it was coming from the war bands, I guess. Was that you?
It may have been.
Well,
When you say invisible, did it sound like a very small voice, or was it just an invisible creature?
it was a very small voice, but it was quite raspy.
That would have been us then, yes.
Interesting.
We were concerned for your safety.
That is appreciated. And I also sort of moved a few of my friends that I knew practiced arcane magic, and they are living nearby, but they should not be found for a long time, if at all. So, they're living deep with the druids in the forest at the moment. And the witch hunters never even thought twice about going there because the natural magic is different than arcane magic. Druids and clerics and such usually the religious types don't get messed with at the moment.
Understandable. Normally, I would suggest that they should come to be with the rest of the arcane magic users, where we would possibly be able to better protect them. However, we have recently suffered an attack. So I am not sure which would be safest. If they are safe now, I recommend they would stay where they are.
Fair. And if you have a way for us to transport them to where you are, if you defended from this attack, you should be fine.
I believe so.
And we may.
I believe we do.
If I have if I require assistance from you, I have ways of contacting you. So.
Yes.
I assume at this point Casimir has come with us, and we should probably introduce Casimir.
Oh, Casimir went right with you to the food. He's cold as shit.
I take a moment to introduce Bounty Master Sinald to Casimir.
He just sort of looks down and he's like, "It's a pleasure to meet you." And Casimir looks up with a mouthful of food and just puts his thumb up.
Casimir is just happy to be here.
Oh yeah, he's just happy to be here. He's not really worried about anything.
Didn't Casimir get out of the last fight with only one hit point? Isn't he just
he's
happy
a
to be
hurting
alive
unit.
right now?
He's a hurting
Yeah,
unit.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
sore as fuck, and you know that. So he's that's why he's not talking, because he's sore. He's not doing
Gotcha.
well. Just because he survived with one hit point doesn't mean there's not pain that goes with that. So, yeah. Vidar, what are you doing?
Vidar basically just came just inside the door and is kind of just standing there. And I still have the psychic whispers, and I think I can use it over this distance.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, just periodically checking in on the statue to make sure that the water dousing hasn't like angered it or anything
No,
like
not
that.
at all.
Just checking in as a periodic, hey, everything's still cool kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And your response is basically contentment. It doesn't feel angry. It doesn't feel upset. It feels quite fine where it is.
Yes, I'm mostly just observing. Not necessarily making it apparent that I'm contacting the statue either.
Bounty Master Sinhold, you wanted to talk to us about something.
He looks down at you. He says, "Yes. I just wanted to verify that you are good, because took me a moment, but I realized that it was you. And it's so good to see you. That's all. That's it. I just wanted to make sure it was you, because for me, having known Evie for so long and all of these things, I cherish you and your company very much, and I just wanted to verify and make sure it's okay." It's sort of hard to put together, you being so far away, but...
Just to address the elephant, do you know what the hell was happening out there?
I do not. I was... it happened, I assume, right before you got here. When did you guys arrive?
Like, just now, right? Like, we walked up to the city and we saw the statue. Well, we heard the crying and then we walked up and saw the statue.
Why are you guys here?
We were sent here for some supplies. We were supposed to meet up with the War Master. Are you familiar with the War Master in this area?
I am not... Oh, yes. I've heard of him from that absolute idiot mayor from up north.
You don't know the War Master's name by chance, do you?
I believe it was Haka or something. He's fucking huge. His forearms, as far as I know, he's just a big guy.
very, very large cobra.
Supposedly, I never saw him, but it could be true.
You don't know by chance where he might be, or where the mayor might be, right?
Oh, the mayor's fine, but I do not know where the War Master ended up going. He's taking a tour from. I have this stupid letter, and he pulls out a letter and he starts reading it to you guys, and it's basically, look out for this gigantic lizard coming down to meet you. And that's essentially all it says. And he says, the War Master never arrived. I assume that in the same way that you came to us, he fled underground. We don't know if he's running from something or if they're preparing for something else. Maybe the issues from, let's say the issues from what happened in Nilhund are far-reaching enough to affect those underground, if you get to my meaning.
It sounds like we should probably find the War Master, probably sooner rather than later. And I look to Sinhold and say, "Do you want to go on an adventure with us?"
As much as I would love to, I believe that there's a statue that we should deal with right now. Because from what I saw, it's very powerfully magical in nature.
Agreed. We need to move it to the south, to the sea.
We
My first-
confirmed that it lives in the sea in the south. Like, is that gonna help? No, that's good. We can just do it anyway.
No, I didn't understand your question. It sounded like you broke up just a little bit there.
Oh, I said, do we confirm that that its home is the sea and the like? I know we need to take it home, but is that the right place?
So from what we got from Vidar, which he announced publicly, was that it home was underwater.
Right, but
I
we're
think-
surrounded by water. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but what we got from Lower Chick is that it was thrown here from somewhere from the south. So from the sea
gotcha.
to the south.
I gotcha. Sorry.
No, it's all good. We did get that from Lower Chick, right? Or did I make that up? Okay,
Yeah.
I was in a trance.
Announced it when I came back.
it's all good.
I wanted to touch the statue. That was all that I remember.
Okay.
My first instinct would be to roll it on logs, but that is a very long way to roll it. Do you think we have a cart strong enough that we could load it up?
I mean, that would require the horses, but the horses are currently in the forest.
I mean, Casimir's been working out, right? And I elbow Casimir.
He goes, I may be strong, but I am not that strong, Iwi. Right?
I got you, Casimir.
Don't patronize me. I am too hurt to deal with it right now. He just sort of looks at you and continues slurping his soup. He appears to be very content.
Perhaps we should go find where it came from and figure out how they got it here in the first place, and maybe we can return it via the same means.
I ask it through the psychic whispers if it would be safe for us to visit its home without it, to investigate how to return it there.
You immediately feel an overwhelming sense of fear the second you ask it that question.
And obviously, without having necessarily communicated to the group that I've asked it this, I just point out to Loershik, the statue seems to not like the idea of us going there, or is afraid for our safety, perhaps.
That's fair. Sinhold, is there any other means other than the horses that would allow us to move the statue that you guys have here?
I mean, there are hundreds of people outside. We might be able to put a rope on it, maybe, or
What I had suggested before is that we get it onto logs and then just keep moving the logs so that it is now on a rolling surface as if it was on a cart. However, if we get it into a cart, we could pull it along with enough people. I do have a way to get it into a cart.
Sure. I'm pretty sure we could procure a cart that could hold the weight. I mean, the blacksmith regularly takes huge amounts of metal all at once places, so maybe we can not necessarily steal the cart, but, borrow.
Use it temporarily. Yes.
Yes. Hopefully we don't break it, but I'll pay for it if we end up breaking it. I'm not too worried.
So we're off to see the blacksmith, the wonderful blacksmith of Turf War?
Sure.
Why don't half of us go see the blacksmith and Lorishik, the god of the random people outside, tells them what we're about to do because they seem to just blindly take whatever he tells them to do. So I'd stay with that,
Listen, an alligator with a hammer tells you to do something,
Alligator might be a stretch. Salamander? Is that they sound kind of similar.
I'm also black, red, and white, so I'm scary as shit. Yeah. I'd be afraid of it.
All right, well, we should round them up and go commission a cart then.
Sure. I go back to the statue, and I just start telling all the people with buckets, thank you for keeping it nice and wet. You're helping it feel at home. We need some logs. Do we still need logs?
We don't need logs.
No.
No, because Rep is going to head for the blacksmith and ask to borrow the cart.
We need some volunteers who might be willing to help us get this into a cart. So
no, we don't. We don't need that either.
We just need some people to hang out here so they can help us in some capacity when a cart arrives. So if you want to help, stay here. If not, you may return to your home. There's nothing more to see here.
As they're looking around, most of them just sit there. They're just like, sure, we're not really in a hurry to go. They're just watching you guys.
Wait.
You guys are really bored, aren't you?
Are these are real people?
Yeah. No, they're fake people. They're illusions.
Can I check?
Sure.
I pull out my bag of beef jerky and I start handing a piece out to people since it's an enormous bag.
You know what? Do whatever Loershik says. I'm just here for the ride, apparently.
They're real people, but they're minor celebrities, like YouTubers, but not famous YouTubers. So I
have 500 subscribers on YouTube. TikTok.
I have 20 followers on Twitter.
What? Is anyone else doing anything?
Yeah, Rep is going to the blacksmith to ask to borrow the cart.
I just was hanging out with Lorishik and his minions, apparently perceiving nothing, of course.
As is tradition.
Just looking for rope. Can I look for rope?
Sure.
All right. Looking for rope.
I'm conveying all of our plans to the statue that we're planning on loading it into a cart to move it to the south, and triple checking that it is okay with the plans.
Yeah, you're met with excitement and intrigue.
So now I got to ask about how much does this statue weigh?
Around 3,000 pounds.
It's rude to ask, It's rude to ask.
Next, he's gonna want to find out how old it is.
No, I may not have a. We might need to use people to load this into the cart now, but that's okay. I didn't know how much it weighed, and it turns out there's a weight limit. It's still gonna help though, so.
I can contribute Mage Hand for like 5 pounds or something. Just to go the theme of the day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just asking the blacksmith to borrow the cart.
And yeah, he's like, yeah, sure.
Thank you. We are just getting rid of the statue that was causing a commotion earlier, so everybody can get back to their regular lives. We're just going to move it back to where it came from, and then we'll bring back your cart. If anything happens to the cart, you will be fully compensated by Bounty Master Sinhold.
He sort of nods at you and like takes you outside and directs you to the cart and shows you like, this is how you open the, like there's a gate on the back of it. This is how you open it. If you have to take the wheels off, you could do this or whatever. He sort of gives you a rundown of how it works.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, so going to head back to the statue with the cart then.
You get the cart to the statue. What exactly are you guys doing?
I'm going to make it about 500 pounds lighter.
Okay.
I'm
With-
gonna come. Oh, go ahead.
With that. Does it work that way?
Sure. You could like, I would assume that you're going to levitate like the front end of it. So
Yeah,
that you can
yeah.
like basically push it on or whatever.
Mhm.
Between all of you attempting to help, a bunch of people see that you're struggling even with your party and like lash ropes to it and start pulling it, and the cart gets on and it goes vroom. You can hear the wood, you know how it creaks and bends and has that very loud audible noise. What are you guys you successfully get onto the cart. What are you doing?
So we probably just grab the cart and head south.
Sure.
What do you say, Lurachik?
How are we gonna pull a 2,500-pound cart?
Just get your minions. I brought rope. Just tie one to each, and we can ride on the cart, and they can mush us forward.
2,500 pounds on wheels that doesn't have like a clutch in there is going to
They have
move
nothing to
pretty
do,
easy.
they said.
It's like pushing a Honda in neutral. It's not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We have to pull these ropes so we can move the cart in a direction that's assumed to be south.
It will absolutely be on a road the whole time, too.
You don't know anything about us or who we are. Random statue shows up. Just take our instructions. It's fine. Pull the rope.
A few of them make an insight check for me real quick.
Oh. Oh, not you.
Lorishik's not there. He's making fun of people still.
I'll do it.
You eat beef jerky. Everyone else is eating their beef jerky. It's a great time.
What did I perceive? Oh, wait, I incited. Was that
A
right?
handful of people who appear to be aspiring adventurers offers to help.
Aspiring adventures.
Yeah, like brand new,
Ooh,
brand
fresh.
spanking new. They decided to be adventurers just the other day and come out of the woodwork to attempt to help you.
Two of them
There.
have
What do
What do they
families.
look like?
Level 0 clerics.
They look very young.
Meaty
A
or
lizard,
skinny?
elf, 2 robots by chance.
A couple of them are quite beefy. The majority of them are not
Are
at
they
all.
human?
A handful, like 2 of them are human. The rest of them are like half race, half breeds.
Anyone tall and tasty?
Surprisingly, no. None of them are really all that tall or tasty.
It's for the best.
Not
Carry on.
age appropriate. They're younger. Age appropriate.
He said younger, not like
He
children.
said young.
Okay, children are not going to help us push the Honda Civic to the south.
Children are literally
these
just
new
aspiring
adventurers?
adventurers.
Are they at the age of consent so Evie can
Oh,
pursue
God.
sexual pleasure with them?
Listen, he said younger. I'm like hundreds of years old or something like that. Vidar's like
Yeah, literally everybody's younger than you. Yeah.
younger
except
could
for
be.
Vidar. Vidar is the only person that is.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But then again, yeah. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
You guys actually have a relatively uneventful time taking it to the south, and literally as you're going, you can actually see these huge divots of earth that basically got moved the second that it hit the ground. And then there's like trees that have completely fallen over or have huge chunks taken out of them as you're moving this creature away. Are you guys doing anything specific with them, or what's the plan?
Mentoring the aspiring adventurers.
Okay. What exactly are you saying? Just out of curiosity.
Now, it is most important to always have tools. Tools will always be a thing you need unless if you don't have them. But if you do have them, then you won't need them. Something to
I
that.
have taken
Also,
a nap.
The vast majority.
it is very
of them,
important to not be a murder hobo.
Sure.
Don't murder hobo. Leave the shopkeeper alone. He's just doing his job.
Vidar is eyeballing all of these people, trying to figure out that if the statue takes over any of them, as it apparently can do, what he would have to do to take them out.
Oh, it would not be an issue for you to do that at all. These guys are brand new. They're not very well equipped. Like no magic items whatsoever.
I elbow Evie along this path and ask her, "Hey, do the trees that got knocked over, do they look like they got knocked over because of the statue, or do they look like they got knocked over because of some other thing? Like, were they rolling the statue? Were they throwing it and walking through?" And I'm nudging Evie, being like, "It's all nature. Given your current looks, I feel like you'd probably have a better understanding."
You would think that being an Eladrin, but we established in previous situations that I have a +1 on nature and I'm weirdly bad at it like I tried this angle. I tried it with the all-knowing, but it's not
I would
seeming
like
to
check
challenge.
It's a stereotype that elves are into trees. She's just like a
Yeah.
rock elf.
God, Lord,
Like she's all about rocks. She's
You
one of
think
those elves.
just because I have twigs coming out of my hair that I'm into trees?
Do I
Stereotyping
notice
me?
anything
Racist.
that would suggest that the damage to the forest and the ground was caused by anything other than the statue bouncing along?
No, not at all. There's no. Normally, you'd expect like if you were looking for things. Go ahead and make an investigation check at advantage, please. Are you kidding me?
Can I do one? Because I was like talking to him about it.
Sure.
Investigation and advantage.
Yep. Hey, someone did something right. I
Alright.
can't believe you rolled a 4. As you're looking at it, Evie, you know that things don't run into trees without leaving stuff behind. There is nothing left behind. There's no hair. There would be hair. There would be feathers. There would be scales. There'd be stuff left behind. I mean, hell, even the patina wasn't even left behind in some of this.
The patina.
The top half of the statue is patinaed, so it's like that aquamarine sort
Gotcha.
of color. And not even that was left behind. You could definitely tell on the statue that there are smoother parts of the patina that has been around for a very long time. But the bottom half of the statue is polished to a near mirror shine. And there isn't really anything left behind on any of the trees. So it is very apparent that this statue just destroyed everything that it moved past.
And assumingly obvious that the statue was half submerged in water.
Very much so.
Are we in a position to see if we can see like anywhere that's obvious that it came from? Did you say that already? Sorry. Like the exact spot that it was like plucked out of?
Not yet. You're just seeing the remnants of it bouncing along. It appears that it was thrown very hard, considering it bounced like 20 or 30 times.
Gotcha.
And as soon as you guys get to the river, this is where things get tricky. This is a large river that is moving very fast and frozen for the most part. Any parts of it that are frozen is just the edge, but the rest of it is moving very quickly. There is no bridge.
I call out to the people and tell them to fell some trees and take the wood and build a bridge for us.
Better yet, form yourselves into a bridge so that we can push the cart over.
They should all have the tools to make the bridge, right? Because they've been listening to Rep.
Get Safari Fred in here. We need a new bard character to tell the tales of King Lorchik.
No, but really, if I ask them to build a bridge, will they build a bridge?
Potentially.
I asked them to build a bridge.
It's gonna take a while.
It would take
No.
quite
They're
some time.
Amish Turforians.
I don't know.
It does not appear that they are willing to build a bridge.
Willing or just don't know how?
Primarily, they don't know how. They are aspiring adventurers. They've had no other job up until this point. The vast majority of them have just reached adulthood, whether it depends on their race as to how long that is
You
or
hear that,
takes
Evie?
to do. They have just reached adulthood.
Is the statue a creature or no?
Yes.
Because we may not have needed to lug this thing however far, because I could have turned it into a bug and put it on my shoulder. I'm super sorry. I gotta get in my door really quick.
And then she screws up the ordering. Damn it.
Now you have to do.
He has
using your best
polymorphed her into you.
You just have to do your best Eevee voice, Spooky.
Hi guys, I want to have the sexual relations with all the adventure. Oh, she's back.
I'm back. I've been back. I had to get my Chipotle. Because if it is a critter, then I can turn it into something that we can transport a little bit easier. That doesn't help us get across the river necessarily. Unless I turn Loershik into a bridge.
Turn me into a horse, and then I'll pull the thing we could polymorph into a horse across the river.
An unwilling creature. That's you.
So, I feel like this is going to be a nature check, but would Rep know if this particular river flows to the sea?
It does not. It flows along the way of the forest. It flows along the edge of the forest all the way to the east, actually. It flows from west to east.
Hey, Evie, do you think you might be able to just polymorph the statue into a
Bug?
frog?
Well, that doesn't help us get across the we still have to get across the river to take it the rest of the way, right? Because it can't like turn itself back into a statue once it gets this feels complex.
Hey, Evie, can you turn the statue into a lapras?
I just learned this one. Actually, can we take the river to the sea?
No. I just answered that question.
Oh, sorry. Well, I don't know if I was here.
It does not flow to the sea.
But we could all technically get on the cart, and Technician can levitate the cart over the river.
Only up to
The cart now weighs 3,000 plus whatever the cart
But
weighs.
after we polymorph the statue into a frog, we all get on the cart, and then levitate all of us together.
I
What's
mean,
the
that would
weight
work.
limit?
I'm
What's the weight
assuming the
limit?
cart's... Well, the weight limit's 500.
Vidar, you staying behind, buddy.
I can swim up to 30 feet. How far across is the river?
It's like 150 feet wide. This is a big river.
Consider this super fast moving.
Super fast moving? Okay.
It can be super fast moving at places, but there's got to be like lulls and like low, shallow areas where it doesn't go very quickly. The vast majority of the river is somewhat fast moving, but for Loershik, it would not be that much of an issue considering he is partially aquatic. And
right.
also Warforged don't have to breathe, so I wouldn't.
We could just walk through the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. The only person I'd be scared for would be Evie, but
Can I?
Weighs what, 10 pounds?
I have like
Would he be able to levitate the cart with Evie in it across?
I have
With Evie and a
some.
chicken, probably. Yeah.
I have a spell that lets me like.
Blink. That's true. Can you blink 200 feet?
I think it's 20 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Can Evie ride on my back while I swim?
Surf.
Does she have that HM? Or
I
have I learned that HM?
would say that you probably could do that. You're still going to have to make athletics checks, and if you fail,
We're
I'm
still going to need to
fucking
get
awesome.
the cart across the water because when we get to the other side,
Yeah.
Well,
are we
that's fine.
banking
We can just
on
keep it-
polymorph lasting the whole time?
I was thinking
polymorph lasts
that.
for an hour.
Oh, okay. So first of all, we've got adventurers. How many
No.
aspiring adventurers came with us?
Leave him.
Like
Thank you for
6?
your help. Send them
6? Okay. All right. So we either
I can
need to
also
figure
just
out how to
swim back
get
and
them.
forth.
Yeah, that's true.
home. Athletics checks
Am
for
I
every
strong
single one.
enough? My strength is 20. Am I strong enough to pull? Can we make the cart float in some way and have me just pull them across the
Yeah,
river?
yeah, oh yeah.
I feel like that's the best solution. We can polymorph and everyone stays dry, and I only have to do athletics check once, and maybe a strength check, which I am so awesome at both those things.
I mean, hypothetically, a cart full of stuff on the river only weighs not much, really. It's the water resistance against the cart.
Yeah.
So how do we
wooden
make
cart,
the cart
yeah.
buoyant? It's already buoyant, right?
It's a wooden cart, right? So
Yep.
okay. Yes, that's exactly where I was at. Thank you.
We're solving puzzles, but they're the easiest puzzles to solve. It just takes us forever because we start with the most complicated solution and work backwards.
Well, if it flows to the river, we just raft up the cart and we get in the river, we take it to the ocean, then we get to the right spot when we get there. That's all. But it
And
doesn't
we
do
all
that.
die of dysentery. Got it.
I'll have you know, I'm 90% limes. Yeah, load up the cart, have lower chick swim the cart across. I think it works, assuming the cart is actually buoyant.
Limes for
Also-
scurvy, by the way.
Just like a side thing. I only get one polymorph per long rest, and just want to like make sure that this is the optimal time and place to do this.
I imagine we'll get a long rest in before we get even to the water, because it was like what, midday when we started talking to Lore Master. Or Lore
So
Master?
here's the thing. If the cart's buoyant and the plan is to load up the cart and have lower chicks swim the cart over, then you don't need to polymorph anybody. Because the weight of the items in the cart is not a factor. So mass and surface area are a factor for things on the water. Weight isn't.
Just to be clear, though, when we put the statue on the cart, it like noticeably gave.
It did.
If I put like a plane on
It's fine. I'll turn
dinghy,
the statue into a small critter of my choosing, and we will cross on the wagon that Loershik will pull. Let's do that. I'm going to cast polymorph on the statue.
The statue willingly fails the saving throw.
Awesome. And turn it into a ladybug. And I'm holding it like this.
Okay. It just like sort of sits down immediately and doesn't even move in your hand. You can feel it just like chilling.
Because it's sentient self. It just doesn't have all of the like it's not gonna go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I could protect it this way. And if anything happens, it could like just fly and be okay.
Fair. Who all is in the cart besides Evie? Is it just Evie? Because Bounty Master Sinhald is going to leave it here because he's a huge monstrosity of a man and he doesn't want to weigh everything down with his 350 pounds of being. So he's going to leave.
Aspiring adventurers, thank you so much for your help. I believe that it is going to be best if we take it from here. Please join Bounty Master Sinhald and adjourn from this place. Also, don't forget to check in with him from time to time, as he is how you will go from being aspiring to being real adventurers. Networking is
Just don't
key.
let him introduce you to anybody.
He just sort of turns around and like grabs a couple of the adventurers in his arms. He goes, "Oh, I actually do have work for you." And as they're like walking back, Casimir,
Enjoy killing those rats in the basement.
Casimir actually volunteers to assist Lorshik in swimming the cart over, because having advantage on strength checks is always a good idea. He's going to be basically walking / moving the cart as well. So
Rep Rap is going to kind of do the same, but with like a guideline in tow. So for any reason something happens, it's basically anchored to the river.
Yep.
By Rep Rap. Yeah.
Yep. What is Vidar doing?
Is the river going to be too deep in points to be able to help it all the way across, or are we going at a shallow point that I could technically?
I'm sure
reach it?
you guys could move along and find a place that's shallow enough that everyone can assist without any real huge threat of it just floating away. Not really sure. Not really that big of a deal. So I need Loreshik to make an athletics check at advantage, please, to ford the river, or the first part of the river. You get about halfway down, halfway across the river, about 75 feet out, without an issue at all. Would you make another athletics check, please?
Also at advantage.
At advantage, yes. Oh, yeah. You guys make it across. It does, every once in a while, you feel the cart push, and it just sways a little bit. Evie, with your ladybug in hand, you almost lose your footing, but then again, but with Casimir and Vidar both securing everything, all you do is get a little bit wet. And you guys make it across perfectly fine. Are you going to maintain the polymorph for the next hour as you guys walk to make it easier for you to go?
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna put Ladybug on my shoulder. Or like, the branches that are coming out, just doot.
Fair. You guys actually, it makes it a lot easier. You're able to actually go much farther. And before you know it, you arrive at the beach that it apparently came from. I need all of you to make perception checks real quick. Evie is just preoccupied. Loreshik, you notice that all around here, there's a large portion of the beach, of a little bit farther down, that appears to have had a much larger amount of traffic than this section specifically, and you can tell that that's probably where it came from. But you guys arrive at a part of the beach that's a little bit farther south, and that is where we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break as you reach the beach.
Can I ask a real quick meta question?
What's that?
Is a net 20, 24, and a 16 plus 8 basically the same thing?
No.
Or does the nat 20 actually give it bonus powers?
The nat.
Did you talk about my 24?
So essentially, the idea behind a nat 20 versus a regular one is that he might have noticed something that you missed to begin with, where if you guys are looking for a guy hiding in a crowd, the nat 20 might be able to tell the difference between two people that look very similar, where that regular 24 is probably just like, oh, he's in this direction, where the nat 20 is like, hey, there's two guys over there that potentially look like our guy. You get what I mean? The general vicinity where he's like, those two guys only. So that's like the difference between a 24 with a nat 20 and a 24 regular. You get what I mean?
And
I would have to roll a 29 or whatever to get that same bonus.
Essentially, yes. Where if you were to get like a nat 20 with your 29, it's like, oh, it's that guy. Those guys look similar, but that guy is the one that's right. Because it's all relative to the DC, the number that your target number you're trying to roll. If, for example, if it's 20, a 24 isn't that much of an increase, where 29 is like way up. You get what I mean? Where, yeah, he might have gotten a nat 20 that narrows it down to those two. Combined with your 20, like 7 or 26 would be like, oh, it's the one on the right or whatever. To where you killed the perception check where he did as good as he can, which is identifying that there are people over there that look similar. Where if it was like a 25 DC, technically he still would have failed, and you would have succeeded with the 25. There are checks that are impossible. So that also needs to be said as well. But with that, we're going to go on our 15-minute break. And we will see you guys in 15 minutes. Get your refreshers, your drinks, your sodies, whatever you got going on. And we'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Bye.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Legendary Tales. We're done with our 15-minute break. Hope everybody refreshed their drinks and everything. So you guys have arrived at the beach. The foliage and things here is wrong, but there aren't very many shoreline maps that don't have shipwrecks on them. So here we are. You guys have arrived with this very large statue in tow. The second you get to the boat, I believe your telepathic link lasts for like 6 or 8 hours or something like that, right, Vidar?
I think I'm supposed to roll a d6 to find out the number of hours, so probably up to 6, I think.
Hold on, let's. I just want to look at it real quick.
I believe at the beginning, Vidar had said, I don't need to roll any dice or anything for time stuff. And then you said, no. So I believe this link is permanent until he says otherwise, because DM had already made a ruling. He's going to kill me next time we see each other in person.
Welcome to this episode of Spooky Attempts to Rules Lawyer. As you can clearly see from this last display, Spooky has never played Magic the Gathering.
Roll a d8 for me real quick. Oh, you have plenty of time. Plenty of time. As soon as you guys get close to the shore and it can see the shore, a huge smile spreads across the little baby's face, and you feel nothing but excitement, and you hear a sort of distant, boisterous laughter. You know, when a little baby laughs, it's the greatest, like, one of the most, what is it called? I can't think of a word, but parasitic.
Infectious.
Contagious.
Infectious. That, yes.
I'd go with parasitic.
The infectious laughter. Parasitic. I couldn't think of the word infectious. And it's quite the thing. And you hear very, very excited laughter coming from the creature. And as you're doing this, I need all of you to make a perception check. Yeah, parasitic baby laughter. What about it? What about it? It's parasitic.
Babies are parasitic. Their laughter is infectious.
That's true. You do get infected with parasites. So technician is entirely too dedicated to making sure the cart is good. Evie, distracted by a giant baby statue and her little kitten running around.
Obviously.
However, Loershik and Vidar, you notice that the waves on the shore are moving in a very strange pattern.
Hey, everyone. The waves, they are moving in a very strange pattern.
Enough of your silliness. Not now. I am trying to look at this cart.
Hey, Vidar, do you see that the waves are moving in a very strange pattern?
I do see that the waves are moving in a strange pattern. And then with through the psychic whispers, I ask the statue about the waves.
It looks at you, and you feel a sort of stalwart stubbornness, almost.
Couldn't think of the word infectious, but thought of the word stalwart?
Yeah.
Sick.
Like, almost a defensive, setting up a bastion of emotion. As creatures appear from the water. They begin to slither onto shore.
I swear if I wasted polymorph on a ladybug.
If you'd like to make a nature check, you can do so to identify these creatures. Nope.
I would
They're
love
obviously
to.
sea tiger scaries.
Vidar, you know that these are Marrow. They are merfolk that have been mutated by the abyss.
Would I know if they're friendly from
They
that
have
information?
never been friendly to anyone but their own. Historically.
I'm going to go ahead and ask the statue if these friendly folk will take it from here, if we can leave.
Fear.
So you're not with them.
I look around and ask, does anyone know what these things are?
These are Marrow. They are mutated by the abyss, and it appears our statue friend is not a fan.
I yell towards. I assume. Have they noticed us at this point? I assume so.
They have noticed you and they're moving up.
I yell towards them in Abyssal and say, "We come in peace."
They respond in kind.
The statue must not reach the water. We have to stop it.
I turn to the group and say, "Don't move the statue closer." And I look back at the. What are these things called?
Marrow. Merrow.
Okay, thank you. I look back at the marrow and say, "We won't move the statue closer. Can you help me understand why the statue can't be in the water?"
The sea gods demand it stay on land.
Oh, okay. Can it be next to the water on the land?
No. We must destroy it.
But why?
The sea
Don't tell me the sea gods demand it.
demand it.
Do you really want to die today?
The bounty of the sea determines fate. If we die today in service, we will be promoted to Leviathans in death.
I turn to technician and ask him, "Have you been giving these marrow advice?"
Not these marrow. No.
I tell the group they don't want the statue in the water, and now they want the statue destroyed. And if they destroy the statue, they get promoted to be Leviathans or something. I don't know, but I think we're gonna have to kill them.
It appears we are at a diplomatic impasse and violence might be necessary.
Are we 100% sure that they are not the ones in the right? Do we have
Good point.
reasons to trust the statue?
I am a moral relativist. We have already promised to help the statue.
Are we also not sure that if we killed these ones and then put the statue in, that there isn't an ocean
them.
full of them?
Good points. I move closer. I put my maul. I move. I can't move closer. Game's paused. I move a little bit closer. And I set my maul down just behind me, like within arm's reach, just as like a sign of like I'm trying to just be hostage negotiation here, and say, maybe don't you start measuring shit.
They're all readying harpoons.
I'm not here to hurt you necessarily. The statue can't be where you put it before. Yeah, it launched it, but it can't be in the water. Like, is there a place that the statue can be that you guys are okay with that also helps you all get promoted to Leviathans or whatever?
Melt it down to slag.
Oh, if only we could have polymorphed it.
Get out.
I ask the marrow, Would you guys mind if we take a long rest really quick?
They can take a long rest in death at the bottom of the oceans.
So there's nothing that we can do here to make you guys happy and to keep the statue whole.
They're all pointing at you, trying to gauge distance.
Okay.
I'm gonna be
Love check.
asking I'm asking the statue if there's anything it can do to help us.
You feel motivation to get the cart to the water.
I kind of try to low key under my breath without. Do the marrow understand common? If I talk to the group, are they gonna figure that out? Would
I would say had you rolled a nat 20, you would have known that.
try to low key under my breath since we're kind of a distance from the water? Mention to the group that the statue might be able to help us if we get it to the water.
Where's Casimir at the?
Oh, I forgot to add Casimir. Hold on.
He drowned in the river.
I turn to Vidar and Casimir and say, I think the two of us can run very fast towards the water if you guys can keep them at bay.
Give me a second. I'm making a cart token and adding it to the thing. What the heck? All right.
It's so bad this to get the cart to the water, and when the statue gets into the water, it dissolves, and it's Yvonne.
Curse to D&D memes.
And then Evie strips. I point to the left direction and make it clear that it might be best for us to go towards the beach over there so we don't have to approach directly towards the marrow. It's a big fucking cart.
Big cart.
That's how much room it takes up overall. Carts are big.
The blacksmith is compensating for something.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add everybody to initiative, and then we'll start it off.
I am just doing fucking great today.
Oh yeah.
Your luck,
yeah, you
your
are.
luck is all over the place. You've had crazy good rolls, and then you've got that. You've had both.
Even
I'm
Evie rolled better than
consistent.
me on initiative.
All right. So, okay. So here's how this combat's going to go. What we're going to do is if you want to push the cart, you're going to make an athletics check, or you can hold your turn and offer to give advantage to whoever's pushing the cart or pulling the cart. It doesn't matter which one you're doing. You just have to be adjacent to the cart and taking your action to move the cart. Okay? If someone is there saying they're assisting or they are also pushing the cart, you get that roll at advantage. Okay? That's how this is going to work.
Does
Cart.
defender count?
What?
Does defender count? Can defender help
Defender absolutely does count. You have to. The cart moves up to your speed per turn, but cannot be moved past 60 feet or past 30 feet per turn. It has an absolute limit to it because it is so heavy, and you are pushing it in sand. So it can only move up to 30 feet per turn. Any missed throwing weapons or spells that are shot at you will damage the cart. If the cart gets damaged sufficiently, it does have a hit point pool and an AC that is involved in it. If they do not hit you, but they roll above the cart's AC, the cart will be damaged. Just an FYI. That's how this is going. Does anyone have any questions before we start?
Can we intentionally get hit, like lower our AC?
Oh, so try and intercept the missiles and other things to not
The
get
missiles?
that missile weapon. They're called missile weapons.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
what that ranged weapons in traditionally are called missile weapons because they fire missiles from them. That missiles are just
Yeah.
objects that are thrown or propelled.
The mer people get out rocket launchers.
I love your complete miscomprehension of language for
Back
just a
blast
second
area
there.
clear. Woo!
Heat-seeking missiles.
Yes, it's a fantasy campaign. We've got crossbows and longbows and swords and hammers. The enemy has a Moab.
And a tow. They have a tow. A Humvee mounted tow
So-
missile. All right, so let's get this show on the road. Vidar, it is your turn. I'm going to let you, Vidar, I'm going to let you take one set of movement before this round happens because everyone else got to move and you did not. Where would you like to be as the round starts?
I'm starting next to the cart.
So you're over. Okay, so now your turn is beginning. What are you doing with your action?
There's a lot of fucking sword fighting going on right now.
I am. Did I just moved? So
No, that's before your turn. Your turn starts now.
now everybody's out of range of me, so I can't even attack if I wanted to, unless I wanted to move away from the cart again.
Are you pushing the cart?
Is that just a random check, or is that a
It's an
strength?
athletics check.
No, I'm not going to push the cart.
Looks at his character sheet. No. You can offer to assist the next person to give them advantage on their check if you would like. So whoever happens to be pushing the cart can get advantage on their check.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Is that going to consume my action?
It will.
Okay, cool. I'm going to move up to the front of the cart. I still have to be within range of the cart to be able to help, right?
Yes, you have to be adjacent to the cart.
That puts me at 55 to that guy. Can I use my bonus action
You'll
attack?
be at
on my-
disadvantage because it's at long range. Or wait, no, it's 60 feet. It's just a range of 60 feet, right? It doesn't have a lower. Oh, yep, then you're good. Go ahead. Use your bonus action to attack. That's a hit. Starting off strong. Okay. He takes damage.
Do we have combat music?
It should be
Yes.
going.
That's the sword
We
fighting.
do, yeah. Everybody
I don't
else
hear
is.
anything.
Well, now I don't hear anything.
Hold on. I'm switching it up because that stuff is boring.
Do
I'm
you have the tab muted?
No? It says sound is coming out of it.
Well, now there's
Did you
drum
turn down
fanfare.
Chrome switcher, the audio mixer?
Oh, look.
This one makes me want to play Final Fantasy.
I know, right?
No. What? That's fine. I just can't hear anything.
It's good music. It's good.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix it. I don't want to restart VTT.
Okay. Is that your turn, Vidar? So Vidar goes
yeah.
to the front of the cart and begins to pull, but he goes, throws a dagger out. Got him. That brings us to Technician. What would you like to do, Technician?
Technician is going to push the cart.
Okay.
So let's see
And
here.
you have advantage on your athletics check.
Oh, right. Athletics advantage.
fixed it.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
All right. How far would you like to move the cart?
30 feet.
A defender would move out of the way, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. And it's already moved as far as it can for this turn, right?
Yep, and it can no longer move any farther this turn.
Okay.
Are you doing anything else with your bonus action?
Bonus action, I'm going to command Defender to attack.
Okay.
It's going to be 40 to there.
Perfect.
And if I remember what it is, was it Alt right click? Or what was it? Control right click? Shift right click.
Double right click.
Double right click. There we go.
Do we need to add Casimir to initiative?
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about my boy. He would have been with the cart. And if he got to go first, that would be 100% on me. Okay, so he goes after this.
Unless that thing has low AC, I think Steel Defender whiffed it.
That is a miss. Since the cart has moved everywhere it can and Casimir's unarmored, he's going to run up and smash that dude. Boop. Come on, Casimir. He's going to rage with his bonus action. He's going to swing recklessly twice. Okay. That's a nat 20 and a hit.
Can you change something that we can see Casimir's rolls
I'm
now?
letting you see Casimir's rolls.
So does that mean he does 20 damage, or does it mean he does 30 damage since he crit? I don't think we've actually got nat 20 on attack roll yet.
Oh, that's he hasn't rolled the damage yet. That was both attacks.
Thank
He's
you.
raging. That's his crit damage. He walks up and just brings the axe down once, and it chops one of its arms off, and he brings the other one down, and the axe buries itself directly in his forehead. And he kills it. He did more damage than it had hit points in one turn. So everything against Casimir will be at advantage from now on. Or for this round. That's it. Yeah. His bonus action, yep. That takes us to Evie. What would you like to do, Evie? You wouldn't have been unless you were staying back the whole time.
Where did Vidar move up to when he moved originally before his turn?
Right here. So right next to the cart.
I'm still in spell casting range, so
you can exist well off this map and still be within spell casting range.
I'm just gonna fireball.
Okay. Go ahead and put that. Go ahead and put that down for me, please.
That gets the three of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I just rolled damage.
Well, you have to cast a spell so that I can do.
I did.
Okay. These two on the right and left save. This one does not. The one in the middle. So go and roll damage. 25.
That was bad.
That's.
Those 3 nat ones. Well, it was 3 ones on a d6.
That is unfortunate. You cast the fireball, and the two that are like sort of in the water, like slithering, or sort of glance it off as they dip underwater for a moment. But that one in front was not ready for it, and you just take a huge blast from the back. Are you doing anything else? Are you moving?
One second. I'm just gonna. No, I'm just gonna. I don't.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay here.
Loershik, it is your turn.
I am useless, but not for long. I'm going to move up to this cart, right about there-ish, and I'm going to pull out my, what is it called? My longbow. And I'm going to take a shot at, what is going on here? There it is. I'm going to take a shot at the thingamabob in the center.
Okay.
I don't see my, there it is.
Shit, I haven't been destroying chat the whole time. I'm sorry, guys.
You were earlier, to be clear.
There's Casimir's rolls. Did work. Okay. Oh, that's a hit. That's a hit. 100%.
I am so good at everything.
Okay. He takes one to the chest and sort of just like shrugs it off. Doesn't shrug it off. It definitely did damage, but he appears to be very upset. Are you doing anything else?
I no. Can I use my bonus action for anything other than like I can't use it to save it or help people or anything?
Sure. Do you want to try and intimidate them to it? You could try and taunting them. What do you want to do? Anything specific?
Yes, I do. I turn around and I point my tail at them. I bend over and lift up my robe.
Oh shit. Go ahead and make an intimidation check at advantage.
Those motherfuckers are intimidated.
They very much are.
Quickly, somebody translate "suck my butt" to abyssal.
They're very upset with you.
All of them, I assume, because they can all see my full moon.
Oh, let's see. Let's go ahead and do a insight check.
Me?
No,
Or
no,
them?
I'm having my characters do an insight check.
Are any of them confused by the fact that this lizard has an ass instead of a cloaca?
Yeah. It's mostly the shallow priests are very confused. The other guys are just upset. Oh, that guy's real mad. To the point where they're both going to
Hurts himself.
This guy moves here. He has a swim speed of 40 feet. Okay, so he's going to take a double action to move here. Then he's going to move his 20 feet this way. And then this guy's going to swing on Casimir at advantage. Once with his harpoon. Ooh, that's a hit. For basically no damage. For 4 damage. And then he gets... It's a miss. Okay. That guy did his double action, so that's the Marrows finished, but the Shallow Priests are going to do something more insidious. This one is going to be casting Sleet Storm. Here you go. So at the beginning of your turn, if you attempt to do anything other than sit there, you have to roll a dexterity saving throw. If you fail, you fall prone. And that's going to be his action. And then the second Marrow Shallow Priest is going to measure this out. Ooh, that definitely gets both of you. He's going to cast Lightning Bolt.
He also hits his buddy there too, right?
He doesn't give a shit. I need Oh, okay. I need Technician and Loreshik to make dexterity saving throws, please.
How does I've just never used it before. How does counterspell work in practice?
You would say I'm casting counterspell right now. As long as you're within range, depending on what level you're casting at, it will automatically stop the spell from happening. But you have to be within range is the key. I don't.
Within range means like.
What's the range on counterspell?
60 feet.
So if you're within 60 feet, you can go say counterspell, and that basically, if the creature's casting a 3rd level or lower, it automatically fails and has no effect. If it's casting a spell 4th level or higher, you make an ability check using your spellcasting ability. For you, it's your charisma. So if it's a 5th level spell, the DC is 15, and if you roll above a 15, the spell fails and has no effect.
Okay, and who casts the damage dealing one?
This one, the one that is
Oh.
just outside of counterspell.
That's unfortunate. And the other one was not a spell, it was
No, it was a spell.
But they already put their dice down for saving throws, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I am
Okay.
going to I'm going to do this. Oh. Oh, okay.
I just didn't do mine yet.
No, you weren't. You haven't moved on your turn yet. We're doing dexterity saving throws for the lightning bolt first.
I'm going to use my reaction
okay.
to do a flash of genius for my dexterity saving throw
Okay.
for a +5.
Okay. So you have a 23. Okay. So you.
No, I have a 22.
Oh, there you get still. That's a lot.
Oh.
So both of you save. You take 12 points of lightning damage, and then the cart takes full 24 points of damage. And it is rocked a bit. It's not showing the health for some reason. So the lightning bolt rocks through the cart as it shakes. And that brings us to Vidar. What are you doing?
If I hit that guy, does that break his concentration? Did that stop the sleet storm, or is that just gonna be a thing that happens?
It might break the sleet storm. It could potentially do that. But you would have to also get out of the sleet storm in order to not have disadvantage to hit him, because it's heavily obscured.
Yeah, let's do that.
You have to make a dexterity saving throw first, please. You stay on your feet.
Going to over here.
Okay.
And this
There
is
you
the guy right there casting it, right?
Yep.
Cool. And I'm stabbing at this guy.
Okay. That's definitely a hit. For 7 damage. Let's make a Constitution saving throw. Nat 20 on the concentration check.
And then I also throw the offhand at him too.
Obviously. That's a hit. Another concentration check. And it fails. And the spell is broken. Nicely done. Anything else?
Nope, I'm just over here now.
Technician.
All right, we will push the cart.
You do not have
Bum, bum,
advantage
bum.
because no one is assisting you. So
Okay.
it's just your
Oh, that's acrobatics, not athletics. Yeah. Let's not risk it.
Flash of Genius.
Yep.
How far would you like to move the cart? 30 full
30 feet. Yep.
All right. It's partially in the water, but not fully.
When you say partially, would it be about up to the midpoint of the statue or
Not
no?
quite. The statue has not
Okay.
touched the water yet.
Sorry. Up if the statue were not in the cart, I mean.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then I guess we need to prepare to dump the cart, but I don't know exactly how we would do that from here.
You have a bonus action.
Yeah, but I can't imagine bonus action dump the cart, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. Mending on the cart?
Mending takes a minute to cast.
That's what I figured. Okay. In that case, we're going to bonus action tell Steel Defender to attack again.
Okay.
And for that, Defender's going to move there.
Nope. Oof.
All right, that's me then.
I need everyone to make a perception check, please. Evie,
I do be
Loershik,
perceiving.
Evie, Loershik, and Technician. All of you notice that something very large is approaching out of the water, and a giant crab appears.
Is it a sexy crab?
No, this is a gigantic crab, and it immediately moves and slams itself into the cart. Since you are pushing on it, I will give you advantage on your athletics check to try and stop the crab from pushing the cart.
Okay. Advantage.
Okay. So the crab runs and smashes into it, and it's going to deal its strength +1 in damage to the cart, as well as pushing the cart back 15 feet. And you're going with the cart.
Got it.
And that was the huge giant crab's turn. And yes, in the monster manual, it's called a huge giant crab. Because it's not just a huge crab, it's a huge giant crab. And yes, it is pushing it sideways, like a crab walks.
It could be worse. It could just be like thousands of tiny crabs going do 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 do.
Casimir is going to swing once at this marrow before going to attempt to kill the crab. He's absolutely going to do it while reckless. Oh. I guess today is the day of rolling very, very well.
Yeah, Evie has been rolling super well today.
And with that, he's going to move back, and he's going to swing on the crab at advantage. Okay, Casimir, just go ham, bro. That was pretty bad. Okay. The crab sort of puts one of his claws up and knocks the axe off, but you can see a little crack in its carapace. That brings us to Evie.
Yay. I'm going to move. Oh. Move.
Are you good?
It won't let me move. I'm just gonna not move. It's fine.
No, where do you want to move? Where do you want to move to? Measure it. And I'll move
Like to here.
you. Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to use my bonus action first for Houndeville Omen.
Okay.
And
Who's
if
it
you could
targeting?
put this guy, but if you could just put him like here, somewhere within 5 feet of him. Oh, sorry, targeting this guy, but can you put him here?
Targeting the crab,
Yeah,
but being here?
yeah,
He gets his own initiative, right?
yes.
He also has bonus HP and stuff, but we will cross that bridge if and when we get there. So he will go directly after you. Or, no, he'll go at the end of the turn after the Marrow Shallow Priest for the time being.
Okay. And I'm gonna do one more fireball. I think. Yeah. And do it. Well, that's slightly odd. I swear I measured this. Oh well, I'll just do Fudge Knuckles. I put him too high up. Alright, it's fine. He can just die, I guess. There. And that guy has a disadvantage on the saving throw.
Oh, true. You should be glad nat ones don't do extra effects.
Damn.
Oh yeah, they all failed.
And damage.
You roll for the dog too.
Yeah. I did roll for the dog.
He has like 3 hit points, so he's gonna die to anything. I just needed him for the dex save, really.
No, he has. Because he gets your sorcerer level and bonus hit points. So.
Oh, it's bonus hit points.
Yeah.
I also meant to put him lower, but I did not think, so that's my bad.
Damn, you did work. That was so much damage. 99 damage total. Are you doing anything else?
I'm gonna call out to the dog and be like, "Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to hit you there."
Okay.
That's it.
All right. That brings us to Loershik. What would you like to do?
I run up here.
Okay.
I whip out my maul. And
Ah!
I attack crab asshole with my maul boy.
Okay.
You'd think a hammer would work well on crabs, but what you really need is those weird pliers.
You already swap out for your new maul.
Don't think he did yet.
Did I have to explicitly add it to my inventory?
Yes.
I swear I did.
Give me a second. I'll give it to you. Hold on.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
definitely
this-
remember adding it last week.
Did you
Did you add it
to
in
D&D Beyond?
D&D
Yeah.
Beyond, yeah.
Hmm.
So I added the bronze mask, the skull, the banshee.
Did you not favorite or equip it in your inventory?
I don't even see it in D&D Beyond anymore. I must have
Oh.
not saved it or something.
There you go. I
Thank you.
favorited it and added it.
Appreciate you.
There you go. So you did hit. Just do damage. Just put up a new one with them all plus
Okay.
1. There you go. The damage is wrong. Give me a second.
Okay.
It should be. Oh yeah, because it didn't import. It should be this. Copy. Edit. Sorry guys, we're dealing with this one step at a time. Try damage now. Or just roll poorly. That's fine. Wait, it's not adding a +1 though. Fuck. It's still 11 damage. You did 11 damage. I got you. Just give me.
Cool.
I swear I'm gonna fix it. Okay.
I'm going to use my extra attack, and I'm going to swing again.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think I hit.
That's definitely a hit. That's better damage this time.
And then I'm going to use Action Surge.
Action surge. Okay.
And then I'm going to attack.
Swing away. That's a hit.
I think it hits.
That's damage.
And now, do I get extra attack again because
Yes.
there's another attack
Anytime
action?
you take the attack
Sweet.
action, you get 2 attacks.
That didn't hit.
That is.
Can
It
I-
did hit. It did hit.
Oh, sweet. I'm going to just deal more damage.
Okay.
And then I'm going to use Hungry Jaws.
Okay. As a bonus action.
Yep. I never remember how I'm supposed to do this. Oh, there it is. I think that hits.
I think it hits too.
And I get 3 temporary hit points.
Perfect. Takes a bite. Oh, it's very, very salty.
Yummy. Yes.
The marrow is going to swing at this stupid dog that it doesn't like.
Ouch.
It's
What
a
is
disadvantage,
the...
right? Because of the dog thing.
Yeah. What is its hit points and movement? I don't think I know it.
What, the dog?
Yeah.
The dog has 50 feet of movement and has 11 hit points left.
All right, thanks.
I'm going to make an actual Hound of Ill Omen for you that you can control for next
Okay.
time. Because you
Sounds
use
good,
that
thank you.
ability a lot more than... I don't think I've ever seen people use their abilities as much as you guys do. Everyone always forgets that they have all this shit. By the way, he rolled 2 nat 20s
Oh,
at
yay.
disadvantage. Like, what? Are
Dang.
you
Like
kidding
hacks.
me?
Hacks. Mer hacks.
24 damage.
That's just overkill.
Your
Good thing he's
dog
not real.
immediately puffs out of existence and then moves over here. And he has a multi-attack, so he's going to bite Loershik. What's your AC, Loershik?
16.
17 hits for 8 damage.
Can Callum jump inside him and make him reroll?
Is that part of Will of the Old King?
No.
Then
It's
no.
not. That'd be great.
No.
Maybe when Callum levels up.
Possibly. These Marrow Shallow Priests are not happy with Eevee, so they're going
How much damage did you do?
8 total.
Such a weak little bitch. I take from temporary before I do actuals,
Yes.
right?
Yes. This one. They are both going to. How far away are they from you? Okay. This one is going to cast Mirror Image.
What is that?
Essentially, anytime you try to attack it, he can roll, and if he rolls a certain number, you hit one of his images and not him.
No.
So it's at Ziri.
Ghost clones.
Yep.
So can I counterspell that?
If you would like to, yeah.
I would like to try to. Does that count like as my action for my next turn,
No,
or is it just
that
a
is
reaction?
your reaction.
Okay.
It
I
just uses one
will-
of your spell slots.
Who did it? Who done it?
He
This
did
guy?
this one.
All right. Yeah, I can reach him.
Okay. And it's just automatic. As soon as you cast the spell, it just goes away. He's unable to do it.
Right.
This one, however, takes advantage of that and thunder steps, or he's going to Misty Step and teleport directly in front of you.
Hi.
What up?
Fuck.
They
What's
do
your AC?
speak common.
What's your AC?
13.
He misses. He's trying to hit you with a harpoon.
That close? Yeah, he was like,
Oh, when you see how much damage it does,
I'm terrified, to be honest with you. So
all right. And with that, we're coming back around to Vidar.
I was gonna say, what about the dog? But rip dog.
yeah, we can make another one. It's fine.
Those things are out
We
of
can
range.
we can build him faster and better.
I can make one more.
Am I in melee range of the crab?
Yes, you are within reach of the crab at the moment.
If other people are in reach of the crab, does that mean that I get?
Yes.
I'm just gonna start stabbing.
So, anyways, I started stabbing.
You get advantage because of flanking.
My inspiration is gone. Also,
Oh, let me give it back to you.
it's okay. I'm not gonna. You don't have to. I'm not
I
gonna
gave
use
it
it.
back to you. That's a
thank
hit.
you.
What did my intimidation do to them?
They made them very angry until Evie started
Oh.
hitting people with fireballs.
I assume that's a hit.
It is a hit, very much so, and you get sneak attack damage. You're hitting the crab, right?
Yeah. Didn't change.
Okay. Anything else?
And also an offhand.
Fire. That's a miss.
And I'm gonna step a
Oh, you
little
have
bit closer.
advantage. What are you doing? Flanking.
I keep forgetting that we have flanking.
Okay. It's only
It's
2d4,
offhand,
but it
but-
still counts.
So it's gonna roll basically 0.
Or a really high amount of damage for 2d4 plus 5. Just saying.
And I'm also gonna step back over by the cart.
Okay. Technician?
Okay. Yeah, I think what we're going to need to do is hand axing on this guy right here.
Okay. That is a hit.
Sweet.
You sort of hit him with it, and he just sort of looks down like, ow.
Extra attack.
Okay, go ahead. That's a hit. Okay, he still lives. Not in good shape, but he lives.
Okay. Bonus action. We're going to tell Defender to attack.
Okay.
And Defender is going to come here
Flanking.
and attack with advantage.
Hopefully do something.
Hopefully.
Nat 1 incoming.
That's a hit. He claws at his back and it just... and he falls. He falls as a result of the dog hitting him. Anything else?
Defender. Nope, that's it.
All right. The huge giant crab is going to attack Loershik. With both
The crab
claws.
knows I'm a sentinel.
Huh?
I said the crab knows I'm a sentinel.
He critical hit with his first attack, which is going to be 8d10 plus 5 damage. How many hit points do you have total?
I'm dead, aren't I? 67 is my
You take
max.
56 points of damage on the first attack,
I'm down.
and he grabs you with the other attack, and you take 2 failed death saving throws as he attempts to rip you in half. So the crab has Loershik, and he's literally pulling him apart as he's unconscious.
So we're clear here. Loershik is actively grappled by the crab?
Very much so,
Okay.
because that's literally the text on it. And the target is grappled. The crab has 2 claws. Casimir, seeing this happen to his friend, is about to fucking go ham. He's gonna do 2 great axes and a claw at advantage. That's a hit. That's a hit. And then the claw... Oh, sorry, guys. I am going to reveal those. Reveal. Okay. So let's do damage. Oh my god, Casimir. Oh, it should be +3, so it's 9. Because he's raging. That's pretty terrible, Casimir. Why you let me down, my guy? It's 20. That's 17 plus 9 is 26. Plus 3. 26 plus 9 is 35. The crab is still alive. Evie.
If I faced up, does this thing get a reaction on that?
No, absolutely not. If you teleport away, you have to willingly
Yeah.
move away, but teleporting does not count.
Okay. Shit. Alright, I'm gonna do that. Also, what season does it count as? Like, this...
Summer, right? Or spring? Did we say spring? I thought... Pretty sure it was
It was winter when we started the campaign.
And then you switched over to spring, though, was your thing that you did.
Yeah, but it's not it doesn't say that it's about my season. It's like the season that it is. Or are we always basing seasonal stuff on what I am?
No, it's based off of what... Basically, she changed what season you're considered to be in as a
Sure.
thing. So you're now in
Spring.
spring.
Well, that's not helpful.
Either way, you get to teleport.
Yeah. I'll do that. And go, what is it, 30 feet?
That's actually so fucking good. Holy crap.
Let's just go right here, please.
In
I can't
any-
move myself right now.
Where at?
Oh, and
Measuring?
any 30. And then, so that was my bonus action, and I'm just gonna do magic missile, all 3 on the crab.
Okay. Just a level 1
Actu-
magic missile?
No, I'm gonna do it level 2.
Okay, that's fair.
And it's just damage, right?
It's just... you do 4 of those. Okay. 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 Sure.
There it is.
That is exactly the amount of damage that you needed to bring it to 0. It has 17 hit points left, and you did exactly 17 damage. I want you to describe to me how this crab goes down. The body is
alright.
still there, blocking the cart from getting to the water.
Is
But-
Lurshik was like in its claws, right?
Yep.
Alright, so while he's like trying to rip Lurshik apart, I'm like standing in front of this angry guy, and I just like see that Lurshik's getting pulled apart and he's unconscious, and I like teleport over there and immediately just like chuck as many magic missiles as I feel like I can at its face and like at its claws where it's holding Lurshik, trying to like just get it to drop him.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so pissed and I'm so angry that I kill him instead.
Okay. Are you doing anything else?
Yeah, I'm not close enough to help anyone or do anything. So, oh, I can take my movement still, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Hey, there you
Come
go. You can move.
over here. Yeah, it's working now. It wasn't before. And it would be a bonus action if I want to use a potion on.
Yep, but you already
Lower
face
check.
stepped.
Yep. So I think that's it. That's all I can do.
Loershik, you have 2 failed death saving throws. It is your turn. I need you to make a death saving throw, please. If you look on your character sheet, you just click that skull. And if you fail this, you get to either use your Kraz and Grits or your Will of the Old King. You get to do one or the other. You do not get to use both.
Or Flash of Genius.
Does Flash of Genius do saving throws?
It does do saving throws.
Okay. Go ahead and death save. You have 1 successful death saving throw. If you get 3, you survive with 0 hit points. You're no longer dying, unless someone can healing potion or heal you between now and then. All the Marrow are dead. The Marrow Shadow Priests, however, seeing you grouped up like that, how many spell slots do they have left? Here we go. Actually, this one is going to go swim out to the ocean and double move, so he moves 80 feet to the ocean and disappears into the water. This one ooh, Okay. They're going to cast Lightning Bolt. Do you have any spell slots to cast Counterspell?
No, I also messed up my camera.
Brilliant.
Uh-huh. I'll figure it out.
All right.
Do you have spell slots to cast repair camera?
No. Yeah, no, I used, I was trying to, I have a thing where I can get more spell slots back, but I needed it to face step with a bonus action, so I couldn't. It was like one or the other. I couldn't do both, so.
I got you.
All right. Okay. He can, in fact, get all 4 of you at once. So,
Does shield only work on...
shield only works on specific things. So,
Okay.
unless... Okay, so I'm going to give this a chance to do something weird, okay? I want Callum... I want to know... Loershik is dead if this happens. I will let you expend all uses of Will of the Old King for this session and next session to have the lightning bolt stop, to have the lightning bolt not hit you. Because Callum steps in the way and uses his energy to move the lightning bolt out of the way. Or...
Doesn't kill Callum, though, right?
I'm going to give it a chance to kill Callum. Like, he'll be gone forever.
But my alternative is a death saving throw, right? Because it's not melee, so it's not instant.
No, if you take
No.
damage from any
Yeah.
ability that's not melee, it's 1 failed death saving throw.
I don't really have an option then. So the outcomes here are I die, Callum dies, or neither of us die.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. High or low?
Low.
Okay. I need you to roll a d100. If you roll from a 0-1 to a 15, Callum is completely dead, but you are alive. If you roll anything else, Callum will live, but it will take him a long time to recover. A 15 or below, and Callum is fully dead.
And what are the numbers for me to be fully dead?
For you to be fully dead, you have to roll between a 100, which is a 0-0, an 85 or above, and you are dead. You're both dead, essentially, because if you're dead, Callum is dead.
Okay. We ready?
I'm ready.
No, I don't. Can I take a break? I hate this.
Here we
I
go.
just went through something in a D&D campaign I was watching, if that makes any difference. I had to watch 2 of my favorite characters die. Just
All right.
Everybody's fine.
Everyone
See?
is fine.
Christ.
The lightning bolt. You see the caster take his harpoon and slam it into the ground, and it flings this lightning bolt at you. Vroom! Goes right through all of you. I need all of you to make dexterity saving throws, please.
Is the Crossing Grits a reroll on deck?
It is.
Any?
It absolutely is.
I'm gonna do that.
Just roll
Yeah,
reroll
yeah.
your saving throw. Just roll it again. I still haven't added it. Okay. I need
I'm gonna flash of genius mine.
Doesn't bode well for me.
I just don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's 16.
Fucking Casimir rolls a nat 20. Casimir's rolled more nat 20s than I think I've ever rolled in a campaign before. Literally in this session. Each of you takes 17 points of damage.
Why is it like this?
You're at full hit points, right?
Yeah,
I got you.
thanks.
Loershik, if he receives a healing potion, will not die. But Vidar, it's your turn.
Yep, and the first thing I do is I step around the cart and flash a little healing potion on.
Okay. Go ahead and heal him. You get healed for 7 points of damage, Loershik. You shudder awake, but you feel like something is missing.
No. It can grow back, right?
It's not physically. It's like that something that was there for a long time is no longer there.
Okay. His tail was gone.
No.
It
No.
works with the rear tail. Yeah.
Are you doing anything else, Vidar?
Yeah, I am going to use my action to move the cart from here and pull it into the water.
Okay. Go and roll an athletics check, please. You cannot. The cart is in sand, and you're struggling real hard. It's not working. That brings us.
Can I use the rest of my movement to get out of the way of the cart, or is it fine that I'm standing like right in front of it?
You're a rogue. You're gonna jump on top of it, or like
You're also not
you'll
in the
figure
way.
it out. You'll figure it out.
Because the crab carcass is still there blocking it, so we have to
Yep.
go around it.
Oh yeah, you should have been at a disadvantage anyway, because the crab carcass is still there. That brings us to technician.
Okay. Well, but he could. No, okay. We're doing this. Heavy crossbowing.
All right. That's a hit.
And extra attack.
Yep. That's a miss.
Okay. Bonus action, we're going to tell Defender to attack.
Yep, he can make it. Okay. Go ahead, swing away. That's a miss.
Damn. All right. That's it. That's all I got.
Casimir's still raging. So he's going to pull the cart with advantage because that's how raging works. He's going to attempt athletics. And he pulls it. He's going to pull it over here. Oh, oops. Right here. And then he's going to start pulling it this way. We moved it around the crab. Evie, what would you like to do?
My strength is really bad. Oh wait, can't move anymore this turn anyway, right?
Yep.
Okay. The other crab is, or the other, what are those things called?
Meryl.
The other Meryl is stressing me out, so I'm going to use a sorcery point to get a spell slot back. on 3rd level.
I think. Hold on.
Is that the right one?
It doesn't. Have...
Oh, wait. It's this one. My bad. It's this one.
It doesn't have the proper description for that ability on it.
Oh.
Give me a second. Sorcerer. Is it font of magic? Creating spell slots. If you want a 3rd level spell slot, it takes 5 sorcery points.
Okay. I had that before I... No, I didn't.
You have
I
6.
only had...
Oh, wait. It says you have 6, but on the front of your thing, you have 3.
Yeah, it took 3 when I...
Yep.
Yeah, it's from 7 to 3. 7. I had 4 left.
Fair. You
All right,
you can get a
never.
2nd level spell slot with 4.
I don't need it.
Or 3.
Okay, I'll just magic missile the guy over there.
At what level?
2nd.
Okay. Go ahead and cast it. All right, do damage.
4.
Yep, 4 of them. 8, 10, 15. Not bad. All right.
You're gonna spread out
And
it all?
then I'm just gonna also. Can I?
Doing what?
Does it help at all when someone's that low hit points to use another potion? Like, does that help anything?
I mean, it could.
Okay, I'll just do that on Lorishik.
Okay.
My
Did you already convert sorcery points? That's your bonus action, though, right?
I thought. No, I didn't convert any sorcery points. I like retracted all of that
Yeah,
because
she
it
didn't
wasn't
want
going to
to.
do what I wanted.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm looking for that.
You gain 7 hit points. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Lorishik.
I look to Vidar and Evie and thank them for keeping me alive, and I use Second Wind.
Okay. 11.
And then I run my 30 feet to there. And I attack it with my maul.
Wasn't the +1 maul.
Oh.
You
Do you want me
still
to
hit.
retract
You still
those?
hit. Just do the maul, the other one.
Just damage.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do damage with that one. Oh, wow. Okay. You did damage.
And then I do my extra attack.
That is a miss.
Can I use... No, it's only saving throws.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I can do anything else.
Okay. That
I give
brings-
it the finger.
That brings us to its turn again, and it's going to use its final 3rd level spell slot to get everyone except for the dog. I need Lorishik, Technician, Vidar, and Casimir to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Would this spellcasting count as an attack roll?
No.
Okay.
Not me.
No, you're out of it.
Right.
He said everyone but the dog.
Yeah, so I was confused.
Have I already used my reaction this go around? I can't recall.
No. You have not.
Okay.
A natural one is always a failure.
I'm gonna re-roll
Okay.
with Kratz and Grits.
Yeah. Casimir is
Yeah.
also going to use his grass and grits to reroll as well.
Since the monster made an attack, even though it still, is going by me, he's technically attacking other people. Do I get to use Sentinel in this case too? Because he's within 5 feet of me.
Let me verify. Sometimes it says makes an attack roll because this is technically not an attack roll. Let me just verify.
There's the...
Yes, I would say that you can use your reaction to make an attack against it.
Cool. I'll wait until after you tell us damage and all that fun stuff. obviously.
Did you roll your saving throw?
That
You
was the
did.
first
16. Okay, yep. So everyone used their crossing grits on that one. Where's... Oh,
I didn't.
I didn't cast the lightning bolt. Oh, yeah, you rolled a 21, though.
Yeah.
Not an issue. Everyone takes 17 points of damage.
Do I take full damage with evasion?
You take half damage because you failed. Or no, you re-rolled. You take no damage because of evasion. Because
I'm gonna
evasion
do
is
my
broken.
reaction now.
It's broken. What?
I'm doing my reaction now.
Yep, please do. That's a hit. That's damage. That brings us to Vidar.
I think Casimir has the thing in the water. I'm gonna start stabbing.
Okay. That's a hit, and you get sneak attack because you have both Defender and Loershik there. Fucking hell.
And an offhand stab?
Nope, you don't need it. Paint me a picture. How does it go down?
Loershik charges in there and starts swinging like crazy, and it counters with the lightning. And when I see Loershik land his hammer swing on the offhand of the lightning, I just kind of do like a little almost like a dealing a card kind of toss kind of thing, and the blue dagger comes out my wrist and just slides right down the handle of Loershik's maul, and as he lands his hit, the dagger kind of just follows through straight into the shallow priest's face.
And with that,
So real quick though, to everybody else, it looked like Lorchik killed it.
yeah.
Okay.
As it goes, it just it sort of takes the hit and falls down backwards onto its back and just sort of. And with that, Casimir, you guys basically turn around. Casimir rages into the sea, and the giant statue sort of falls into the water and appears to dissolve into sea foam almost. And with that, you, Vidar, overwhelmed with the emotion of happiness. And we will come back with the repercussions of that happening later in the story. It'll be a good time. And with that, that's where we're going to end this episode of Soulforged. I hope everybody had a good time. It was super fun. The combat was good. And we should see you guys next Tuesday. And then hopefully next week we should be doing the other series as well, because the major should be over. So everybody have a good week, and we will see you next time. Bye.